Around 2,400 years ago existed one of the brightest men that has ever lived in our history. His name was Aristotle. He was famous for being a logician, a biologist, a physicist, for naming over 400 species of animals, and also he was a great author. Some of his books were Metaphysics, De Anima, Retórica, Poética, and those are just some of the few that still remain today because many of his books were lost. But I know what you're thinking. What can a 2,400-year-old philosopher teach us about living better? Enter the Nicomachean Ethics. Aristotle uses this book to explain what his whole ethical theory proposal is about. Now, this book can teach you many things about how to live better and how to be a great human in society. And although it is a little bit outdated, you can learn many great things from it. So, welcome to the Classy Spirit, and today we will be talking about 8 great pieces of advice from Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics. First advice, live in the middle. Now, according to Aristotle, a virtue can always be found in the mean between an excess of an action and a deficiency of an action. Courage is a great example. Too much courage is recklessness, and too little courage is cowardness. So according to Aristotle, always search the mean in actions, never be too excessive or too deficient. Aristotle goes as far as stating the nature of moral virtues. He says that the nature of moral qualities is such that they are destroyed by defect and by excess. Too much and too little food and drink destroys our health. But the proportionate amount, however, produces, increases, and preserves it. So live in the middle. Life advice number 2. Enjoy life like a human, not like a cow. What does Aristotle mean by this? Basically, he is stating that humans can do so much more than animals can do. So why should we have the same pleasures as they do? For example, sleeping, sex, eating. Those are the things that animals can do. Those are important pleasures. They make a lot of life, but you should not focus only on those primitive pleasures. You should also focus on the pleasures that only humans can have. Acting virtuously and reasoning. Those are things that humans know how to do, and they know how to do it well. So if you want to live a life not only of pleasure, but of supreme pleasure, as Aristotle puts it, do all those things. Third piece of advice. Being a good person is a habit, not a talent. Now, Aristotle distinguishes between intellectual virtues and moral virtues. Intellectual virtues come from learning, teaching, and other kinds of intellectual experiences. But moral virtues come from good habits. If you want to be an honest person, you have to consciously practice telling the truth. If you want to be a humble person, you gotta practice humility. If you want to be a courageous person, you have to practice being courageous in critical situations. According to Aristotle, at first it will seem like you are forcing yourself to do these things, but with time, you will develop it as second nature. It will become one of your habits. Fourth piece of advice, it's okay to mess up once, as long as your habits are good overall. Now, there isn't much to explain here, but Aristotle states that a good doctor, for example, doesn't stop being a good doctor just because one of his patients dies one time. If this doctor overall works great and has cured a lot of people, just because this one time something went wrong, doesn't mean that he stops being a good doctor. Life advice number 5. Reason. You have a head, use it. A whole bunch of this book is spent investigating the function of humans. Now, what is the function according to Aristotle? He says that a function is something that we exist to do and that is only particular to us. For example, eating is not particular to us. We share it with almost all other living beings. So the function of humans is not to eat. So what is the function of humans precisely? What makes us different? According to Aristotle, it's our ability to reason. So in order to be good humans, we must perform our function well. We must reason. And we must reason excellently. Life advice number 6. Choose to be moral. In this book, Aristotle states that the highest goal of everything is happiness, because happiness is something that we want for itself. We don't look for happiness to get to another thing. We want happiness because we like it for what it is. We enjoy it just as it is. And in order to get that happiness, one must be moral. According to him, a moral person is a happy person, and a happy person will never be miserable. Life advice number 7. Know universal laws. Now, Aristotle makes a separation between universal laws and particular laws. Universal laws are laws that everybody should know and that are common everywhere in the world. Do not steal, do not murder, do not set a house on fire. Those are universal laws because no matter where you are on earth, those things are regarded as bad actions. Particular laws, on the other hand, are circumstantial laws. They are things that are not common everywhere. Things that could be happening just inside this room. For example, I see this book on a bench in any park, and I don't know who the owner is, but I just decided to take it because it seems like it was lost. Somebody left it there and doesn't want it anymore. So I take it. But the moment I take it, it turns out that the owner was just giving a walk and he had forgotten his book. That is a particular law. I didn't know that the book belonged to him. It just seemed lost. So why does Aristotle stress that we know universal laws so much, but he doesn't stress that much with particular laws? Because we can be forgiven for not knowing particular laws, but we cannot be forgiven for not knowing universal laws. So know your universal laws. And how do we learn universal laws? According to Aristotle, common sense. And so we reach piece of advice number 8. Choose your friends and choose them wisely. In the last chapters of the book, Aristotle states that humans are social beings, and an important part of the human experience is to have friends. To live alone, one must be either a beast or a god, says Aristotle. So if you are neither and you are just a human, then have friends. But the advice goes beyond having friends. You need to have the right kind of friends. Aristotle separates the type of friends you can have in 3 groups: political friends, pleasure friends, and true friends. Political friends are the type of friends that you would call network connections or things like that. People you know because they will be useful for you, like your boss, work companions, and any other type of network connection. Pleasure friends are a type of friends that you like to hang out a couple of hours a week. You see them, you're all happy because you're gonna hang out, you go to the movies, but then after 20 years, you're not still friends with them. They are momentaneous friends, people that you like, but that you're not going to maintain a relationship with them forever. And true friends are the type of friends that Aristotle stresses that you should work on. True friends are the type of friends that share your virtues, and for that reason, you will be able to maintain a profound connection with them. They will be the people that you share with the most, and they will be the people that seem to understand you all the time. True friends are the type of friends you could say are lifelong friends, friends that you will maintain a connection with them almost until you die. So work on making true friends, not just any friends, true friends, because those are the ones that ultimately will benefit you. Now that doesn't mean that you should avoid political and pleasure friends. Those are good too, but don't focus solely on your pleasure and political friends. Your main focus should be on your true friends, the friends that you share virtues with. So that was all for this week. I will try to post more philosophy videos weekly from now on. And if you like this video, like it and subscribe and share with your mother, your father, your friends, your brother, your sister, your neighbor, your dog, your cat, or anybody or anything that you think would like this video. And that's all. See you next week for more debate.